Big creatures coming through.
Only shooting stars break the mold.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Brawl Stars. I'm Amy the Amazonian, and today I'm playing Xenagos, God of Revels. Xenagos doubles the power and toughness and gives haste to a creature at the start of your combat. But how do you capitalize upon embiggening your creatures? By playing the biggest creatures you can possibly imagine. This is a Gruul Smash deck that runs things like Ghalta, like Quartzwood Crasher, lots of big things, especially things that have trample or give trample, and either get you something when they hit, or just deal a ton of damage. But why not both? Old Gnawbone, Ancient Copper Dragon in here to really just help us unload tons and tons of creatures. This deck's all about the big boys. 1-drops, 2-drops, 3-drops, most of these are ramp. There's a little bit of removal in there too. Gotta have our lightning bolts. Methods Enthusiasm is another good one. But really, it's just like, get our mana, get our lands into play, ramp up, and then play the big stuff. As far as cards that you might not think of for Xenagos, there is one that I've really enjoyed. Rothka doubles the power and toughness pretty much of the next thing that you play. Really gives +X/+X where X is its power. Same as Xenagos gives +X/+X where X is that creature's power. Great way to make creatures huge. You gotta go big or go home when it comes to Xenagos, because if you're not winning quickly, it can be hard. Though, Xenagos does give haste, and so does Rhythm of the Wild and Halana and Alena. Having a couple things that give haste in this deck is really important. Also things that stop counter spells, because if you are stuck against a control deck that keeps removing all your creatures, you got to get that damage through. And how do you do that? With a little bit of haste, a little bit of avoiding counter spells, and a little bit of smashing. I've also got some like good Gruul stuff in here, like Escape to the Wilds and Minsc and Boo. Though Minsc and Boo does kind of work really well with Xenagos, because there's a lot of things with trample or haste in this deck, as I just mentioned. Also, Minsc and Boo has a fling as a second ability and can pump things up and makes a Boo. Boo's great. Boo dies, you get another Boo. This card is so strong. So we're going to take Xenagos into the queue, and we're gonna get smashing. Chandra, Torch of Defiance. One of the strongest little red planeswalkers that ever was. She burns your creatures. She burns your face. She gives card advantage, extra mana, and, well, she also has an ultimate ability that ends games fast. Like, really fast. By making it so whenever you cast a spell, you do 5 damage to any target. Usually your opponent's face. Usually your opponent's face. A super strong planeswalker that may also be friends with some other Chandras. I'm very used to seeing Chandra Torch of Defiance in what I'm going to call an Oops All Chandras deck, where there's just lots and lots of Chandras. I'm pretty happy with this, though, as long as we're able to stick some stuff to the battlefield and they don't just remove it all with burn. We could get Llanowar Elves into Selvala, into Xenagos. And we have a little bit of removal for Chandra herself, too. This Methods Enthusiasm. I also have a kitty cat who's sitting right next to me, right off camera. Hi. Scraps, would you please come onto the camera? Would you please come out here? She's right here. She's right here. Just, come on, girl. Just, like, a tiny bit. A teeny tiny bit. No, okay, she's not interested. What a little brat she is. I love this cat. This is my cat, Scraps. She's a good girl who likes head scritchies and does not sit on laps. She's never cuddled a single day of her life, despite all of my best efforts to try to get her to cuddle. We bribe her with treats, and she'll step on us now, expecting to get a treat. I'm not gonna say I'm great at training animals, but I got close. Stepping on me to get a treat is kind of like a cuddle. Alright, Rahilda, what did you exile? Beast Whisper. Oh, that's going to be a pretty good card for them. Next turn, they're probably going to get Chandra down. And I'm wondering what the best thing for me to use my mana on. I'm going to say Methods Enthusiasm. Just take this out. I'm going to name green. I'm going to scry. That's a Great Henge. So the Great Henge is great. But right now, what I feel like I need is I need something I can get onto the battlefield to attack Chandra. Mind Stone. Okay, so they did not get a land. Chandra's Regulator, that's going to let them double their Chandra abilities. That's really strong. But because they didn't have removal, I can get Xenagos on the battlefield. Xenagos is getting buffed, but he's not a creature this turn. Still going to be pretty nice to have Xenagos here to give haste to my creatures. And eventually, hopefully, I'll get enough devotion to turn him into a creature. Yeah, Scraps? Scraps, just like a couple inches. A couple inches over. Her tail is right here. Chandra's on the battlefield. If they want to, they could generate 4 mana by copying the ability off the Regulator. Yes, my cat also did bite my feet at 6 a.m. recently. She's riled up. Chandra has killed the Llanowar Elf. How dare you, Chandra? How dare you? For this, we're going to use Fabled Passage. We're going to get another green source. I will enact my vengeance. Once Arena loads. Arena? Did you crash? Oh, that was a cat knocking into the microphone and jumping down. Hi, girl! Oh, it's actually the Regulator asking, do you want to discard a mountain or red card to draw a card? I bet they have a mountain or red card in their hand. Being a mono red deck, that would make sense. Hello! This is your go, you're holding priority. Good night. There we go. All right, we're gonna grab that good green stuff. Snow-covered forest. They're saying, oops. They're like, I didn't mean to do that. It's okay. It happens. We're gonna settle the wilds to get a 6-drop. This is not the only 6-drop in my deck. I have a couple big boys. Morog, how nice. Kami of Bamboo Groves. We're going to get the Sokenzan into play. And now we're going to give the Kami of Bamboo Groves haste. Also +1/+1. Since it has haste, unless they have a little bit of removal here, maybe a shock, a bolt. Nothing of the sort as a Meteor Swarm. You can swing at Chandra and take her off the battlefield. They might be able to replay her next turn. They do have 5 mana. It would only cost 6. There we go. A land and Chandra. They're making some red mana. They don't have any mana to copy the mana. Oh, more ramp! Or it's the Ornithopter Paradise. Cute! I'm going to Rog. It's more Rog. Not playing my land yet. We're going to swing you at face. You at face. They've each attacked once this turn, so they get +1/+0. But here's why Morog's in this deck. Because a land has entered the battlefield, which gives me another combat. At the start of the combat, they will untap. And then we will attack with 26 damage of Minotaur power. Good game. Hi, Aragorn the Uniter. Hello, Landworm. Aragorn cares about the color of spells that you cast. And the more colors your spells have, the more abilities you trigger. Aragorn can make tokens, scry, burn your opponent's face, and give an incredible buff, an obscene buff, honestly. +4/+4 until end of turn. I would say that Aragorn's best colors, probably red and green. You can get so much aggro done with an Aragorn deck. And there's a lot of cool multicolored spells which you can play with him. I want a ramp. Which ramp do I want to start with? I'm going to start with the Llanowar Loamspeaker. It's a 1/3. They do have booties, so just want to make sure I have a blocker here in case they, I don't know, try to swing a Ragavan at my face or something like that. I actually want to build an all-Gruul Aragorn deck. I built a sort of tokens multicolor Aragorn deck before, but I think it would be really fun to build them as a Gruul deck. Guild Mages for them. I guess it cares about multicolored spells. A goose. With boots! Impossible. Boots on goose? Such a thing would be ridiculous. Let's play Sylvala. And pass the turn. I do not need to attack into a 0-2 Goose with a 1-3 Loamspeaker. Sylvala, if they play their commander, is going to draw our opponent a card. But it's also going to give me a lot of mana. And give me the potential to make lots and lots of mana on a future turn. Especially with something like Surrak and Goreclaw. They've got 5 mana. They have to decide how they want to use it. If they want to use the Guild Mages for him to play Aragorn, they will need to convert the mana from something else. Yeah, I think they're going to tap the Forest to feed it into this, still use the Goose mana, unless there's something else they want to play from their hand. Like, you may as well convert the mana off Guild Mages for him. It gets you an extra counter, right? Okay, well, they disagree. They don't want that. They get to draw a card here. And they're going to give him the boots. Oh, that's why. It's because they wanted to haste in. I'm fine with that. 5 damage, not a problem. And then this thing starts being like a 10-10, then it's a problem. Speaking of big boys, though, we have a Surrak and Goreclaw. We're going to add some green. Wait, I'm gonna be 1 short there. Yeah, I won't be able to activate the Sylvala after. She's still a better blocker. Yeah, I have a choice I get to make here. I could also throw down some gods. Here's the Surrak and Goreclaw. I will draw a card. Thank you. Give me a land. That's not a land. That's a combat celebrant. Surrak and Goreclaw gives haste and +1/+1 counters onto things. But it looks like they want to fight. They're making Aragorn into a 9-3. Sorry, a 9-9 in attacking. He just has some marked damage on him. Killing Surrak and Goreclaw. Big yikes. Oh no. The monkey. Impossible. A 2-1 monkey. Ragavan's a great card. Especially in multicolored decks. Gives you a lot of good fixing. I'm taking another 9 from Aragorn. I'm gonna hope that they don't have any instant speed green cards that they can play. Doesn't look like they do, though. Not the monkey. It's the monkey! I could bolt the monkey. I think we're going to have to throw down some wee critters here. If I play both Clothes and Xenagos, I will have some devotion. Red. Just a couple indestructible gods. Oh, I just realized, if I had ordered that the other way, I think I would have drawn off Xenagos entering the battlefield. I can technically give Clothes haste here, but I think I need both of these back as blockers. I don't think these two should be able to be in the same place. Xenagos, for anybody who does not know, is a satyr who achieved goddom. Was not created to be a god, but got enough believers on Theros to become one. Clothes, however, I want to say is like innately just people believed there was a Clothes, and Clothes is created as a god. Theros is weird. Things that have devotion become... They just become. Hi, Aragorn. Hi, Ragavan. We know they have a Paradise Druid. But maybe they also have an Embercleave. No, they have Colossus! Ah, it's 3 damage to my face and a bunch of trample. Dang, that thing is huge. Good game. Cridle of Baldur's Gate. Okay. Cridle of Baldur's Gate. I'm like trying to think if I've ever seen Cridle played as anything other than this kind of unblockable on-contact commander, but I think that's what this is going to be. So Cridle can become unblockable, and this is actually a buffed version of Cridle, where you do not have to pay a cost to turn an attacking creature unblockable. On top of that, when Cridle hits, you mill, you drain a life, and you scry. But because Cridle can make other creatures unblockable, you can also get things like ninjas that have abilities when they deal combat damage to a player. A lot of good ways to capitalize on this unblockability. Hi, Cridle. I probably should have played Turn Timber as a land, just to avoid paying life. So normally with Cridle, you have to pay 2 mana in order to get this ability. I think it's 2 mana. They hit, they mill a Prowling Serpopard, they scry, and we lose an extra life. They could also have, like, curiosity effects. I don't like that you have 2 mana up, because it means this can be a 2/2, or you might have a counter spell. No matter. Time for the commander. Xenagos! Wash away. Indeed, it was a counterspell. Okay. I don't need Xenagos to get work done. I would have liked to have had Xenagos, though. No attack, since this is a 1/1, and this is now a 2/2. And it can become a 3/3 with Death Touch. And then get +1/+1 counters and draw cards. Ooh, card draw. Phyrexian Arena. Nice. Having a wash away early, always a good tempo play. We have 5 mana here. We could destroy Phyrexian Arena using Kogla and Yudaro. And if we don't get another mana source, that's what I'll do. But since we did get a mana source, we could either Kogla and Yudaro, fight the Cridle, or Primeval Titan and ramp some more. I want to ramp. Ooh, I want to ramp real bad. Primeval Titan is going to get me 2 lands, any lands, and the 2 lands I'm going to grab are Nykthos, wherever Nykthos is. Yes, I can run Nykthos in a 2-color deck as long as the 2 colors are like these. And Forsaken Crossroads. Going to name red on that, and I'm going to scry. Llanowar Elves. So that's what they would mill, and I'm fine with Llanowar Elves being milled by Cridle. Because we have Nykthos, now we have a little bit of extra mana. Right now it's generating 1 extra. Assuming all of these are still alive, I don't really want to block the Evolved Sleeper. I mentioned before it can get Death Touch, and it can get Death Touch. We could also just have a way to kill my creatures here. I have 2 things here with 1 toughness. Rusco. It's not going to be doing any killing, but it is a frustrating card to play against. Makes a clock, drains me for life. Cridle becomes unblockable. They mill the elf. They scry. I'm down to 14 life now. A Kogla and Yudaro, we could also use this discard ability to destroy the Midnight Clock, and I might end up doing that. Just not right away. I could go for more damage off Xenagos, but I know what I want, and it's a big dinosaur. Etali, Primal Conqueror. We're going to exile the top spell of each player's deck. Oh, yes! So we are getting a Voracious Great Shark and a Quartzwood Crasher. Beautiful. Wonderful. Amazing. I probably actually should have ordered that differently, just so I don't, like, counter the Quartzwood Crasher while it's on the stack. But we have trample damage that's getting through, which means we're getting dinosaurs, which means that we're getting a bigger, scarier board. Also, there's a shark. I love free sharks. We also have a ram through. In hand. I have removal in hand. We're doing great. Good game. I've matched into 3 Italis in a row. I'll still play against it, though. Etali, Primal Conqueror! What does it do? It's a dinosaur. It steals, and it can turn into the Bite Steel Colossus, which can kill you in poison damage in a single hit. That's right. There's 11 power to give you 11 poison, if you can't prevent it. And it's hard to prevent because this thing is trampling and indestructible! Yikes! Let's see, what do we have here? We have ramp. You can destroy some types of ramp. Artifact and enchantment-based ramp. We have a Topiary Stomper. Nice, more ramp for me. Always good to see. Here comes the Armored Scrap Gorger. Hey, gorgeous, how you doing? Ready to munch up some cards from graveyards? Ramp for them as well. The Lotus Cobra. I expect both of us to be ramping a lot. I'm going to go for Topiary Stomper over Goreclaw here. So grabbing another green source. Let's go with our snow-covered forest. I only have a few of those in a deck for Into the North. I'll play Balagad Balagad Sanctuary is the land side. Yep, it's a land. We have 6 mana available for next turn. That's enough for a dinosaur who's also a turtle ape. It's actually an ape and a dinosaur turtle working together. They're besties. Goreclaw. Reclamation Sage. We do have some good options here. I'm going to go for just Kogla and Yadaro. I'm going to smash the Lotus Cobra. Against an Etali deck, disabling their ramp is very important. It's going to be similar for them fighting me. I also like getting Kogla and Yadaro out because it gives us a ton of devotion for Xenagos. This is good against, well, control decks, which we aren't. So, we win. Nice. Good game. Noe is playing Vorinclex. I have a bit of ramp in this hand. That's always good to see. And we're going to be going up against green smashy things. This Vorinclex has reach. Yes, that's the most important thing. But it also gets lands when it enters the battlefield. On top of that, it's also going to be able to transform to find even more wee creatures from their deck. And I say wee creatures as if they're not going to be giant, huge, and scary, because that is what they are going to be. Vorinclex grabs whatever creatures happen to be milled in the top 10 cards, which, in a big green ramp deck, are going to be scary creatures. Big and scary creatures. I'm going to pay 3 life here. We can either get Selvala out for ramp, or we can cultivate. I'm going to go with the classic, the cultivate. And I'm going to grab 2 green. Right now, our hand is predominantly green. I'm also going to swing with the Kami of Bamboo Groves. I expect them to block and sacrifice their Neverwinter Dryad to get a forest. Neverwinter Dryad is kind of like Soccer Tribe Elder, but worse. This is the bad Steve. Llanowar Elves. Hi, Llanowar Elves. I have a command tower. I could either throw down these, or I could just get Xenagos out and ready for a nice next turn. I kind of like doing that. I'll go for it. I can't double cast these, even though I do technically have 6 mana for creatures. I would need 7 for these. Next turn, oh, we could do it. Vorinclex, who stops the counters and doubles the counters. Not the Vorinclex who gets the lands. Not the Vorinclex who has the reach. Beast Whisperer. Into Selvala. I won't have 1 mana to activate Selvala's ability to get more mana. But I can still haste her and hit face. Let's do it. And I'll leave back Xenagos as a blocker, because indestructible. Also because right now they're kind of in the lead, and I don't have anything that's going to burst kill them. Dealing an extra 6 doesn't really leave me with like a lethal off Kazul's Fury. This is Fling, for anybody who doesn't know. It's Fling that costs 1 more and is also a land. It's nice to have in a big stompy deck. Here comes other Vorinclex. Gets them 2 forests. It doesn't have to be a basic forest, though, so they might grab, like, Gingerbread Cabin. Yeah! It's a classic! Mix of food, which they could then consume to gain 3 life. Oh, Den of the Bugabug. Comes into play tapped. I have the weeest of Kamis. Nothing here really doing much for me. I think we just sit here. We wait. Too many lands I flooded. And the problem of, like, I have lots of lands in this deck because I need to make sure I can play my big stompy creatures. Sometimes you flood. Vorinclex is going to flip. And they're actually going to get 2 counters. So the first 2 chapters are going to happen at the same time. And there's going to be 14 +1/+1 counters put onto Vorinclex. Yes, that's real. It's a 2020 Vorinclex. And they're also going to get... Oh god, that's another Vorinclex. It's the trifecta of Klex! Oh no! So, we got a block. Salval might be making me mana, but I need to be not dead. Because of the trample, I can't, like, fling in response. Hey, Shadow Spear, you might be able to get me at least a little bit of damage. We're gonna use Den of the Bugbear. Yeah, I know, you're tapping everything forever. Shadow Spear. Girl, I know. Den of the Bugabug. Stop with the chains! I hate how they all trigger separately. It's 8/7. Die! It's not enough to stop. The Vorinclex is too big. It's also going to be able to fight next turn. Good game. We lost to the Trifexa. The Vorinclexa. It's a good trifecta, the Vorinclexa. No, don't play the Nissa. Just, please, just attack me. I'm more tapped out than anybody could be. You didn't need to do this! I'm out of here! Urza, Lord Protector! This Urza gives discounts to artifacts, instants, and sorceries. And he can also meld and become one with the Mind Stone. Very scary, very spooky. Ooh, a land. I'll take that. Urza Lord Protector is very much control. They're going to want to protect their board. They may be playing some artifact synergy as well, but a lot of this is just going to be getting to the point where you can get your good stuff out and stop your opponent from building up their battlefield. Thankfully, I do actually have a piece of removal that can hit Urza in hand, and more importantly, I have a Rhythm of the Wild. A way to, fingers crossed, make my creatures uncounterable, which is huge against something like this, a blue-white commander. Hey, Ledger Shredder. Nice. I actually just got another way to make my creatures uncounterable. I'm going to start with Rhythm of the Wild, though, because I think they're less likely to be able to interact with this. And then we can get the Serpopard out. Don't have to worry as much about a board wipe. How you doing, Ledger Shredder? You wanna get some papers? Tear them up? Sounds pretty fun to me. Do I want to just, like, gotta go fast here? I'll just play Xenagos. Can't be countered. They're proliferating! Well, there's no counters on your Ledger Shredder yet, so there's nothing to proliferate. They do still get a card. Incubation Druid! Get +0/+0 in haste. The Replicating Ring. A lovely little bit of ramp there. But I know what I'm here for. And it's Etali! Primal Storm! We're going to be giving it haste with Xenagos. And our opponent left the battlefield before I could enter the battlefield. Dang. Anyway, this is why you should play Can't Be Countered, because they make control players leave. Things this hand has. Burn. Things it doesn't have. Green mana. I can't use the ramp if I can't make green mana, and unless I'm cracking open that Field of Ruin, which I can't do until turn 3, not great. I'm going to mulligan. We're up against Nicol Bolas the Ravager, by the way. Enters the battlefield, makes you discard, and can transform into a Planeswalker that can bring things out from the graveyard, can burn a creature Planeswalker, or could just draw you a bunch of cards. You can also win with him, because his -12 ability is exiling everything but one card from your library. This is a much better hand, though. We have ramp off the Llanowar Elves. We also have a discount from the Goblin Anarchomancer. Kind of like ramp. What do you see? As you see is my thoughts? They took out my beautiful ramp! For that, I attack you for 1 entire damage. Cuts me off from a potential Goreclaw next turn, unless I get another land. If they play something little, though, we can bolt it. You got any little guys? Nope, just killing my Llanowar Elf. Never mind, they're undoing my mana. Putting me back down to just 2 lands. I need to draw more, and that's not a land! That's danger. That's what that is. That's danger. Alright, Nicol Bolas, you appear to be a control deck. This is land, but it does come in tapped. I don't think it matters. I think we should still take it. I'm gonna keep that on top. They know about the bolt. Let me bolt something. Not your face. Something more interesting than your face. No targets for bolt. No targets for Reclamation Sage. They still don't have red mana, so they haven't played Nicol Bolas himself. It's the bing bong ding dong. Hey, that's something I could hit with the Rec Sage. They don't know about the Reclamation Sage. I would also love to get this Domri out, so I'm going to try to. Purpose of this is just to hopefully set up so they cannot counter my future creatures. It's possible that they're holding a kill spell or a counter spell, or just something that only works against certain types of creatures. Hi there, Orcish Bowmasters. Be gone, Orcish Bowmasters. They have an offer I can't refuse. Going to give me 2 treasures in exchange for protecting this Bowmasters and keeping it alive. They're swinging at Domri. Domri, you seem so enthusiastic about getting hit. Valky is going to let them exile one of the creatures from my hand, stopping me from playing it, and they can also transform Valky into it. I don't think they would do it with Reclamation Sage. They still don't have red mana. They just don't have it. Well, I can make red mana, see? I have a Domri. I'm not going to, though. I'm going to make green mana. And we're going to play the Beast Whisperer. Followed by Goreclaw. I know this will draw a card, which will let the Bowmasters amass and ping me. But that's okay, because sometimes you just need to draw cards. Today is one of those days. May I have the card, sir? That doesn't work. Can't be countered. Can't be countered. Also, Goreclaw gets extra power. She loves that. Yes, Domri is any creature spells you cast after this ability is resolved during this turn can't be countered. It's not just the mana you spend. I'm going to drop the ram through. Because Quartzwood Crasher and Xenagos together are just, oh, such a perfect pair. Ooh, but the Time Twist means I'm going to have to discard that Quartzwood Crasher before it ever comes down. That's a shame. We were going to have so much dino power. Quartzwood Crasher, I think, is one of the best cards with Xenagos. Ooh, Morog. Morog would be great, but I think that the Xenagos is more important here. Get it out. Draw a card. Method's Enthusiasm. Pinging the Goreclaw. That's fine. I'm going to use Method's Enthusiasm to take out the Orcish Bowmasters. We're going to give the buff to Goreclaw because she is huge and scary. And she's swinging. For 11 damage. Bringing you down to 8. So this Nicol Bolas could transform next turn. They did finally find their red mana. They want to take out Domri first. That's very fair.
We will rise again.
And they transform! Would you like to kill Goreclaw? Beast Whisperer. Looks like they're taking out Goreclaw, knowing that she has a huge trample and buff. Settle the Wilds. We'll get ourselves a 6-drop in hand. That's a nice 6-drop. Give Beast Whisperer +2/+2, and I will attack Nicol Bolas. So if they'd like to, they could double block here to kill the Beast Whisperer. That would give me the Reclamation Sage, which would cut them off from some of their card draw. Though, this Nicol Bolas does have card draw built in. +2, draw 2 cards. I mean, Nicol Bolas did kill Domri indirectly in the story. Makes sense. Children! Make me sacrifice a creature! I don't have Trample here, but I do have a potential win. I can either do Morog, try and take 2 attacks, or Etali and steal. Let's see if they have a counterspell. Morog. With a buff. Actual, factual counterspell. Dang. I'll just pass the turn. I'm going to hold on to the land in case they make me discard again. I do have 11 cards in graveyard. But the first chapter of 2 Scriptures is not the one that makes me discard. They're copying Nicol Bolas. He comes into play with 8 loyalty. Are you going to reanimate? I get a Quartzwood Crasher. Narset stops me from drawing extra cards in a turn and can find them a spell. Negate. Negate. This is almost at midnight. Ah, oh, wouldn't that be beautiful? Etali? What can you resolve? And what can you find? We're gonna swing at them for 12. It is not trampling damage. It did resolve, but we got nothing. We got 2 lands. They can kill Etali. They're going to draw some cards. This is why the new Etali is just so much better. Sure, this one can trigger multiple times. But also, it hits lands so often. I have it in this deck because it's fun. Oh, hey, Morog. You want to take 2 attack stages and maybe kill me? Hero's Downfall, killing the Etali. They have 8 cards in hand. Valky, shouldered, Morog, stolen from me, from my graveyard. Imagine having the choice between, like, Morog and Etali, not taking the Etali. Let's see, if they attack in here, they get 6/2, 8 damage. And they already played a land, so they won't get the extra attack stage. With two attack stages, this would have been 8 damage on the first swing and then 10 on the second, which would have killed me. But Morog's tricky, because you have to play the land in your second main phase to get the additional combat. Otherwise, you technically take the second combat first, and your creatures remain tapped afterwards. Reaper's Town! They give it the 28-month resub! This is nothing! They also have a Tail's End. Let's see what's on top of our library. Nothing! I'm out of here! Husky, Bearer of Secrets. When it or another creature they control hits an opponent for combat damage, they draw a card. A nice way in green to refill your hand, throwing lots and lots of little things at your opponent's face. Also, it's an indestructible creature, which is cool. Means that it can swing through things, you can mutate onto it, put counters onto it, and it's just a bigger, growing threat. They have a Paradise Druid. They have a Haywire Might. They can remove a non-creature artifact or enchantment. I'm not blocking. I need this ramp for cool stuff. Fingerback Walker. Cool. That's cool stuff. I could go for Goreclaw, Topiary Stomper, Cultivate. I'm going to start with the Cultivate. We sit here. Behold, a 2/1. You love 2/1s. It's hexproof. You can't touch it. We take 2. There's no Toskies out, though, so they're not drawing any cards. And you can Defense the Temple. Makes a 1/1 that taps for mana. Nice. That could be a fun card to include in here, too. I've got a Chandra, which also can generate mana, but I'm planning on double spelling this turn. I want to get down Goreclaw into Topiary Stomper. Grab my snow-covered mountain. We're at 6 lands. We can play the 7th next turn. And we should be able to have some Xenagos shenanigans, doubling up some power of creatures here. If they have a big fight spell, they'll be able to take out Goreclaw. Here's Tusky. And a Mox Amber. That gives them 1 mana if they'd like to buff up the Walker. Oh, they're using it for Fang of Shigeki. It's a 1/1 with Death Touch, which means that it will trade with whatever creatures I happen to throw down. Well, I want more discounts. All the discounts. A Goblin. Excellent. Chandra. Looking good. Xenagos. Incredible work. Incredible work! Let's take out that Death Toucher. Out of sight, out of mind, right? We're going to double up Goreclaw's power and swing in with the Topiary Stomper and Goreclaw. That is 14 trampling damage. They can prevent 1 for free with Toski. By the way, Haywire Might is able to exile Xenagos if it's not a creature. Haywire Might's kind of nasty against these Theros gods if they happen to be below whatever their necessary devotion is. Damage goes through. They're gonna get a couple 1/1s. They thop. That's the sound of a Thopter thopping. The Thopters who thop are able to kill Chandra, since they do have flying. And the Remnant of the Rising Stars, currently a 2/2, but can become absolutely massive as a 7/7 if enough creatures become modified. Hello, Haywire Might and friends. That is simply the sound a Thopter makes. It goes thop, 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 thop. I assume that's why they're called that. Because they thop. So many things. This has to attack. The Toski does. They have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 mana. And they keep counting their creatures. Why are you counting your creatures? Gemrazor. Okay. I mean, that makes a really big flyer. Kind of surprised they didn't mutate onto Toski, but I mean, I guess Toski would just get blocked by Xenagos anyway. Still got 2 mana up. This does kill Chandra. I don't know what's so difficult for them to make up their mind, but okay. Xenagos blocks. Chandra dies. I have nothing with reach here.
This is a waste of my time.
Maybe they thought they could destroy Xenagos. Yeah, he's an indestructible god. That's why I mentioned the exile before on the Haywire Might. Longer Fraley is letting all of these tap for mana. If they had done that pre-combat, they could have actually just, like, tapped the Toski. Oh, here's something with reach. Also, it's a 6/6. And it will have haste. Grab some lands, throw them into play, haste them up, go to combat, and unless you have a fog here, I think we're good. Everybody, get in here! And we win! Nice! L Cops, thank you for the 3-month resub! Perfect timing for our victory. Thank you so much for watching this episode of Brawl Stars! Xenagos was actually a request from people in the YouTube comments, and that's where I take suggestions for decks. If you would like to see a specific commander played, please let me know by leaving a comment saying, hey, I want to see whatever commander, or if you want to see an updated version of one of my old commanders, I'm down with that too. There's a lot of commanders that I just don't think have that much you can do with them. Xenagos is a little tricky because it's just playing big rule stompy stuff, and it's hard to compete with the other big rule stompy commander that's out there these days, Etali, because Xenagos doesn't quite get as much value on the turn that it comes into play. Still a very cool deck to play, and if you like to play some Gruul Smash, there's a lot of ways you can do it. If you want to know what kind of things could you throw into this deck, you can throw in whatever ramp you want and whatever big stompy boys you want. I just happen to put in the ones that I like and that I find perform well for me. I'd say that, like, of the cards that you should absolutely have in the deck, though, Quartzwood Crasher, Ghalta, those are big ones. Probably the Etali, too, because they're just great cards. Things that have abilities that trigger on attack are also very nice because Xenagos does give haste, though not necessary to get big wins with this deck. I hope that you like the deck. The deck list is in the description of the video, and I hope you have a brawlful day.